Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty for another episode of Road Rage. For all those of you that are not familiar with Road Rage is me blabbing while driving with using a hands-free setup, so it's completely safe. Don't worry. I'm keeping my eyes on the road at all times. It's just like having a conversation while you're in the car, and that's the whole point of these videos. It's just to have a conversation. So with that in mind, please be sure to leave your views, your comments in the comment section down below. And if you want to help this channel grow, also hit that thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notifications bell so that YouTube can ignore me anyway. And if that's the case and you really like this channel and you want to help it, you can help us out greatly by the info bar down below. You can go in there and there's a Patreon link. I know Patreon's not the most popular thing right now, but I am looking for alternatives, just so you know there should be an alternative coming up shortly. But anyway, you can help for as little as $1 a month. You can be a member of the Frugal Force and you can get exclusive videos, as well as be entered into the random once in a while Frugal Force giveaways that I like to do. And also, if you want some Frugal Force merch, there's CaptainFrugal.redbubble.com, where you can get Captain Frugal shirts, hats, or whatever. Well, maybe not hats. I'm not sure about the hats. I have to double check on that. Shirts, clocks, pillows, all kinds of stuff. Coffee mugs. Yes, because I love my coffee. All right, with that, I'm going to get down to the deep and dirty. Just yesterday, I was the day before yesterday, I was online at work. I had a little bit of time, so I was reading some articles, and there was a poll. And the poll was about sports. It was asking pretty much, and I'm going to show the picture up here. You know, do we want to hear views, social views from sports? You know, from sports athletes, from professional athletes. And if you look at the stats here, I just took a picture of it with my phone. You know, it's an overwhelming no. Most people don't want to know that. And see, that's where my segue is. This is the same way in comic books. You know, if these writers and artists wouldn't bring so much attention to their social views and connecting them to the business that they work for, nobody would probably give a crap about them. And I mean that in a good way. They wouldn't have the negative views that they do have of them right now. But that's the problem. These writers, and especially for like Marvel and now DC, and artists, the writers and artists, they all think they have to tell us what their political views are. Like just most recently, the Incredible Hulk. I've been praising the Incredible Hulk for, the Immortal Hulk for how good it's been, even though I know the writer's a scumbag. But then he had to interject himself in the comic book in a commentary with, oh, the Hulk, you know, Bruce Banner gets away with everything because he's a white man. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but that's pretty much what it said. If you were a black female or whatever, you wouldn't get away with that crap. But no, you get to go into the Avengers and everything else. Let alone she forgets, you know, the writer forgets, you know, he's only saved the Earth a zillion times, right? He's only misunderstood. Most of the time, destruction that he's caused was because things came after him. All he wanted to be was left alone, for crying out loud. But no, the writer has to turn it into their own personal propaganda mission. And that's the kicker there. And you know, there's a lot more fans of sports than there are comic books. I'm not picking on comic books, that's just the nature of it. But it's the reality of the situation. Now, you take that and you think about it then. If only such a small percentage want to hear that crap from their favorite athletes, what do you think that number is going to be like when they look at that if they were to comic book writers and artists? I'm guessing, and I think this is a pretty safe guess here, that it's going to be pretty similar. Nobody wants to know. We don't want to hear it. We don't want it. Keep it out of our comic books, and you don't need to be using it in your social media feed. It's only causing you harm. And that's my word to the writers and artists there. It does them no good. Because no matter, you know, we're in a pretty good divided split, you know, in the United States. And that means if you post politics, you're probably pissing half the people off. And that's half your market. And for them, you know, to go on and think that's a good thing, remember, this is a bad time for comic books right now. Sales have not been great, no matter how many lies they try to say. Oh, well, Marvel's still got the majority market share. Market share isn't sales. Market just means out of all that's selling, and overall selling is down. I love it how they twist those things like that. They try to play people for stupid. Or shipments are, they'll say, oh, well, we're going to second print. Yeah, because the first print was so small, the second print, it's two. You can make multiple prints when the print run is very small. It doesn't really still say much, and it doesn't mean it actually sold. They love to play all these games, and they love to play the digital game and everything, but I got a newsflash: the digital is still only very small compared to the print. So they could try to use all that they want, but even if you did give them a number to add on to there with their print, the sales are still down. And that's it. People don't want to hear their social commentary. They just don't. Sure, a few will, and those are probably the fringe ones that are going, oh, they have every right to say what they want, which they don't. Whenever you're connected to a company, you represent that company, and therefore you need to represent that company professionally and keep your own personal agenda and opinions out of it. But these people can't seem to figure that out because they're too busy with their head up that writer's butt or artist or whoever they choose to, because they want to kiss that rear to be buddies. When sometimes to be the best friend, you've got to say the things they don't want to hear. That's a true friend, by the way. A true friend's going to tell you things that you didn't really want to hear. Like, hey, your girlfriend's screwing your neighbor. That kind of thing. You never know. Or, hey, you're being an idiot right now. Have you considered just chilling out? Or maybe don't send anus pics. What do you think about that? That might be a good idea. Or don't talk about cutting your own balls off and your own, man thing off because it's toxic. Yeah, that was stupid as can be. Can you believe that? Oh, if you have a penis, you have a toxicity in you. You have a disease. You have a sickness. The only sickness they have, Max Bemis, is in their head. There's a problem in their head. If you're talking about every man has toxic masculinity, I got a newsflash for it. We're men. We're supposed to have masculinity. We have testosterone. We are supposed to be manly. There's a reason for that. There's a difference between men and women. If we forget about that or get rid of that, what's the point? We are different. We're supposed to be different. So get off your social commentary. People don't want to hear that crap. And I think this was a good, it just made me think about that. I really think it's quite comparable to the comic industry. We want to read the books. We want books that are not read with their political views. Just like somebody wants to turn on a game and watch a game and see their favorite sports star make that touchdown, hit that grand slam, get the hat trick, whatever it is. We want to see that. We don't want them to all of a sudden stop and tell us how to vote. Or stop and lecture us on their personal social philosophy. No, that's not why we watch football, and that's not why we read comic books. So, let me know in the comments, what are your views on this? Am I way overboard? Do you think these don't have any correlation at all? Or do you think this is a good fit? This is exactly right. You can see it right here. People don't want to know your crap. They just want to get your product. They don't need everything else. It's, for example, and one more example too, if I go and, let's say I buy dinner or I buy a crescent wrench, I'm not going to sit there and want to know how that person, the company's voting in general, or what their messages they're preaching. No, or especially because then in reality, you'd have to know what every single individual that works at that place does. And who can do that? That doesn't even make sense. All right, well, that's my rant. This one actually probably sounded like a rant. So I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me rant. Until next time, keep it frugal.